This has to stay on with streaming, so it's going to stay stationary right here. We've got another mic that will pass around. Welcome and thank you for coming to the House SCDOT Modernization AdHoc Committee in beautiful Sumter, South Carolina. And love the folks in the room. Thank you for coming to share with us. I'm Shannon Erickson. We're honored to co-chair this committee, a large committee, and I know we've got some members on the way joining us. I'll just start a few minutes late. We try to let people get here, but you see the empty chairs, so they'll wander in as they can. We've got a busy agenda today. The members who are here have committed to coming to all of these meetings. This is number 6 that we are hosting across the state. And we have an aggressive agenda, so we're going to try to get right to work. I'll start with introducing myself, Shannon Erickson, South Carolina House District 124. Everyone is going to introduce themselves and you might become direct. Heather Crawford, Horry County, District 68. That would be the Greater Salt Lake City, Forest Grove, and South Florida Beach area.
Good afternoon, everyone. Leon Stavronakis, Charleston County, District 119, which is City of Charleston, James Island, Johns Island.
Hey, y'all, Stephen Long, District 37, which is Northern Spartanburg County.
Good morning, I'm Robert Robbins, District 97, which is Western Dorchester and Northern Compton.
Bill Hager, District 122, Hampton, Jasper, Colleton, and Beaufort counties.
Good afternoon. My name is David Vaughn. I'm with District 27, Greenville County.
Good afternoon, I'm James Teeple, represent Colleton in Charleston County, District 160.
Good afternoon, everyone. Keyshawn Scott, House District 50, which is Lee, Sumter, and Kershaw counties.
Jump in here, say this is Mr. Scott's first meeting, I believe, he's newly elected. Welcome into the House.
Good afternoon, it's Scott Montgomery, District 32, in Spartanburg County.
Good afternoon, Gary Brewer, Dorchester, Charleston County, District.
Making that up. Good afternoon, everyone. Mark Smith, House District 99, Berkeley County, which is Daniel Island and Hanahan.
Hello, Michael Riggins, District 121, parts of Beaufort and Carleton counties.
Good afternoon, everyone. Roger Kirby. I live in Lake City. I represent District 101, which includes Lawrence, Williamsburg, and Berkeley County. Nice to be here.
Good afternoon, my name is Mark Willis. I represent District 16, that is Greenville and Lawrence counties.
Good afternoon, I represent District 91. I live in Barnwell, represent Allendale, Barnwell, Western Orangeburg.
Thank you very much. We'll have some other folks speak as they come in and have introduce themselves. To start our meeting off, Mr. Smith, would you start us in a prayer, please?
Sure. No, please stay. God, we love you. We just thank you for life, and we thank you for the opportunity to gather here and do the people's work. And God, we especially lift up all of our leadership here for this ad hoc subcommittee, and also all the members. And we thank you for safe travels here. We thank you for all the people who are going to be testifying here today, and we just ask you to bestow your wisdom and your guidance on everything that we think, say, and do, that it may bring you honor and glory and for the people's benefit. We ask all these things in your precious holy name. All God's people together said.
Amen. Very much. Mr. Hosey.
Good to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic which stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. Pass the mic over to Representative Crawford, of which is going to take us off. Good afternoon. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for joining us, Representative Guppy. We have a couple more that will be trickling in, so we are going to go ahead and get started with our presentations. We do have an aggressive agenda, so we're going to ask, we've asked some of our stakeholders to be here today. We're going to ask them to keep your remarks to about 10 minutes. Again, remember, we are on a listening tour, so we are going to listen to some presentations. Members, you have notes and the presentations in your notebooks. And first up, we have Rick Todd with the South Carolina Trucking Association.
Good afternoon.
To get started, thank you.
Thank you for the invitation. Thank you for the opportunity to have Industry Day. Trucking is industry working on the highway. My name is Rick Todd, I'm President and CEO of the South Carolina Trucking Association. I spoke to you at your August 18th introductory meeting. We are an alliance of businesses that use trucks and drivers. With me today, just to kind of show you a little bit of the diversity of our. We introduced them, did not add on to me. Jim Drennan, Superior Transportation, a heavy haul out of Gage cargo all around Charleston. They probably got 30 trucks in the country. Jim's our chairman of our board this year. Carl Hamilton, New South Express, that's the division with Canfor. Maybe American Lumber Company, they probably got maybe a dozen mills scattered around southeast, a couple hundred trucks. They haul everything from the woods to final consumer. Carl, who's our vice chairman of our board, and represents the agribusiness sector. Paul Riddle, City of PDBs and Southeastern Freight Lines. Y'all heard Southeastern, they're probably the second largest privately held motor carriers in America. Locally owned, Midlands, and LPL, we can talk about that later. Basically, the best that's what pick up stuff locally, consolidate, making cities, and do that. So he's my so is Marty Atkinson here running around with NW White and HK Steel dump truck operation. Worked with Sumter Transport for a while before we came to NW White. They run trucks all over the state, probably combined large dump truck fleet. And Kyle Bilton, Sumter native. He's with NW White, Citadel guy, and the GM Farms. So thank y'all for backing me up. I don't think we're getting into questions today, but if you did, I would probably punch them. So maybe we bring it back at some other time. I refer to the small packet of information I left you last time. You've got an orange folder today. I might ask that you just flip with me as I go. If you can keep up with me, I've got a lot of stuff to cover in just a short amount of time. There should be enough material in here to not confuse you. When you have more questions, you can probably find answers in this material. So this super sector, I like to call trucking super sector because we touch every other sector there is. There is nothing without trucking. We thank you for what you're doing. Thank you for this process. And we're ready to serve and work with you. We very much appreciate the legislature providing supplemental funding for the DOT because it has been underfunded for decades. And now we're all feeling that. That's one of the reasons why we're here. Please continue to do that. Trucks and truck drivers, speed, flow, and movements. And I like to say the trucking isn't joyride. Trucking is business, trucking is serious business, and it's everybody's business. And I think some of these why. Fun fact, 91.5% of the fleets, one truck to thousands, 91% of them have fewer than 10 trucks. Consequently, trucking is highly fragmented and intensely competitive, with price and non-price, with very low profit margin. Medium and heavy duty trucks
represent only 5% of total vehicle population. Government agencies and utilities generally have some of the larger fleets.
May I introduce you? May I please be excused for a minute to interrupt you? Your mic is not picking up to the feed. Can you either hold it or make sure that the green light is on?
It's on.
And then maybe
There's a
take
red
it up.
light, but it-
Okay, good. And then you
I need to turn. Oh
May-
my God.
bend down. There we go.
So, I'm
No singing.
having start over. From economists, we all know said trucking is like oxygen. Putting life as we know it, but it needs to be safe and efficient. That's a lot of what we're talking about here. There's no government agency that's a proponent of trucking. DOT is the closest thing we've got. They're good at it. Never has hesitated to come to the legislature and bring our concerns to you directly. You'll always hear, let's get more freight on trains, get the trucks off the road. The basic reality is that rail and truck freight rarely meet. Less than 10% of cargo out there is able to be intermodal. Truck, rail, a lot of that's market price, service driven. You will see some charts in flip, just for historical purposes, historical tonnage by mode. If you want to know why there's so many trucks out there, this is a great graph to consider. In the 50s, the interstate highway system can be constructed. So instead of being restricted to rail and local routes, freight had a faster, more efficient system available to it. Then deregulation opened up competition, changed the whole world, made America competitive on a national scale, took several points off the GDP based on transportation savings. And then just in time, the processes kicked the supply chain into high gear and rolled since then. You can see a distribution of tonnage by mode. Blue is bulk freight. Red is general freight. Trucking's got a pretty good balance. Bulk, trucking moves by and large local, like in dump trucks, fuel. Then you can see by mode 2015, where it was. We connect all modes. They don't function without a truck first and last. Then you see the tonnage. Trucking blue. Growth, shows you all modes, their growth, 2015, 27 projections. Rail car load. Market share, alternative forecasting, and then baseline forecasting. What those show is that if you were to move every bit of freight off the highway onto intermodal rail, you would not make a significant difference in the number of trucks you see. So enough of the charts, and then back to the comments. As you know, trucking services are heavily taxed and deregulated, operating public highways. All costs, delays, accidents, liability, taxes, and fees, ultimately borne by every consumer of your constituents. Because the industry is so low profit, they have to pass on all their costs. If there's one industry that you would want to be profitable, because we do our business on public highways, I would submit to you that it would be truck. So our key agencies are DMV, Public Services and Driver Services, Transport Police, and of course DOT with fiscal infrastructure and permitting without gauge cargo, things that have to move. If any of these partners underperform, including us, there's financial risk and in unfortunate instances, public experiences. So modernizations have routinely occurred you have been constantly being, in a responsive mode, to trucking. We bring these issues to you. A number of years ago, rest areas were shut down rather abruptly. We found out about it short notice. You funded the opening, commercial motor vehicle only parking. Thank you for that, and we need more. That's top priority with the US DOT. You got what was then a modernization move by creating and consolidating law enforcement commercial vehicle purposes into the state transit police. You've been doing the rural roadway safety initiatives and all that brings engineering and design and improvements. Truck drivers appreciate that. DOT is very freight friendly, and so is our legislature, because you have, over the decades, provided for and allowed specialized vehicles across various sectors to benefit operating exceptions to accommodate local economies and local needs, and so that we can be competitive, safe, and in a lot of instances, reduce the number of vehicles required to get the job done. And you have methodically worked with us to create a genuine one-stop shop at DMV that collects all these taxes and fees that I'm going to refer you to here in just a second. This is going to result with IT modernization in true business class modernized capabilities, so we can get our trucks ready on the road and do your stuff. A few things we ask you to consider in terms of modernization include smarter highways and all that means. Most of it's for safety, but also monitoring. CMV, commercial motor vehicle centric, safety engineering, wider turning radiuses, retro reflective striping and signage, more and better intersections and interchange lighting, commercial grade roundabouts where you have to put a roundabout in. You gotta allow the truck to get through the thing without tying up the entire circle. The asphalt pavement folks may mention about how you put out to bid thermo paint. We believe you can consolidate those bids and save money and make it easier on contractors to get money. More rapid turnaround time and modern platforms for the DOT to use when they analyze bridges, routes for this oversized cargo. Working with them, have a working group underway. Empower DOT to think outside the box when it's feasible to speed up a bridge, shoring up the bridge. They may not need to replace, do some things like save money and keep them operable, extend their life without completely replacing them. Engineer and expand highway capacity on economically corridors. Doing that, that's what you're talking about. Enact a specific statutory penalty for exceeding the load limits on posted bridges. They're not one specific for that. They're looking to a general statute, talking with DOT and transport police on that. But we need truly accurate, real-time, load restricted or closed bridges mapping. User-friendly, the driver can see on his phone, the company dispatcher can certainly be aware of, and that they can trust. And drivers depend on clear, consistent statewide policies with regard to signage placement, location, driver turnaround capabilities, and opportunities, and consistent statewide system enforcement. We need that. We recently surveyed our members on a couple of other points. They say that safety, highway safety, is DOT highways, highway safety and liability cannot be separated from this discussion. We've experienced such traffic growth that we beg for more enforcement, crash mitigation, highest quality court accredited public accident investigation. And yes, we like a moratorium, maybe a reduction of the inflammatory and distracting billboard advertising. Motor carrier services administers the commercial motor vehicle apportioned interstate taxes and fees. The international registration plan, the international fuel tax agreement, and now the road use fees, property tax on trucks is extended to interstate truckers. All trucks coming through this state, medium and heavy duty, pay a piece of our fuel tax, piece of our registration fee, and a piece of our very high property tax. So there is a windfall of money coming into the state from this new extension of this property tax liability to out-of-state trucking firms. So there's a chart in here that explains that. So you have modernized by extending the road use fee, the old property tax, to out-of-state truckers, you modernize the revenue stream. We'll have to look at that. I provide you with a history and a box there under RUF. Explain what it was and how it works. There's a sheet that explains IFTA, IRP, and road use fee, how it's administered. There's a chart for a comparison of our competitor sister state taxes and fees, because we are an interstate industry, more and more, even international. So we have to be competitive, or you're gonna end up with local folks' names not on the doors anymore, and larger out-of-state firms to buy them up. We're seeing that, and it's increasing, especially in this great recession. We are now in the third year of, see how we rank actually with the highest truck tax state amongst these five sister states. Everybody taxes in different ways, but the bottom line is what you look at. So I ask you to consider that. Just for fun, there's a comparison of the industry, number of trucks, number of drivers, owner operators in those same states, and we are tucked in between major markets of Charlotte and Atlanta. You see their complete sizes. Ours is the smallest among them. Don't really have a good answer for you as to why that is. A lot of history and geography, but something to look at. There's a sheet called Trucking Road Use Fee is a modernized, dependable methodology for road use tax revenue growth. When this was, before we made the change a couple of decades ago to apportioning the property tax from South Carolina-based trucks, that means they pay the property tax based upon their South Carolina mileage as opposed to every other state mileage. We at that time brought in some out-of-state residents, if they had physical facilities here. That's hard to enforce. So when y'all were looking at what you eventually did in 2017, the highway funding package, we brought you a proposal where we consolidate the administration and collection of this into the Motor Care Services Division of DMV and extend that tax again to out-of-state truck fleets. They have to register and pay registration fees for the IRP clearinghouse anyway. It's a basic program. We roll that property tax schedule, if you will, to the registration schedule. And it has brought in, it went from maybe 17 million a year to now 94.7 million. That's a windfall. 25% of that money by statute goes to DOT for interstate capacity expansion. 75% goes to local governments. I would just ask you to consider how you might dedicate or earmark that 75% for maybe local road and bridge projects. It's trucking money. We pay general business taxes. I know this is somewhat of a property tax, but the windfall can be looked at differently. This chart shows you the exponential growth. We brought that to you. It's been sort of a model for some other states. We get calls. How are they doing it? General comments on infrastructure bank are there. Truck registration fees originally capitalized the infrastructure bank when you enacted it. There are other sources now. We just pay attention to what the infrastructure bank uses with those revenues. We encourage them to be rate centric. Alternatively fueled and powered commercial motor vehicles, it ain't happening anytime soon. We are a diesel heavy industry, and we will be probably our lifetime. Say that because the diesel tax is not obsolete, and it is collected and administered almost no evasion, very low cost, so it's a perfect tax. It's a consumption tax. Tolling, there's some comments about tolling. A history of the talk decades ago about tolling I-95. Thank you for what you've done for I-95. Department, Georgia DOT, our federal delegation brought in hundreds of millions of bridges. And once you get 2695 interchange fees, that's going to free up a lot of that weekend asking. That's going to flow instead of backing up and going around. So the project broken ground on recently at the border. It's gonna help a lot. Choice lanes as a major highway system user, we don't oppose choice lanes. If you're adding capacity and it makes sense, toll it, commuters and the local economies can handle it, go for it. It's an expensive proposition. Cost of administering those systems are high. But I would just remind you that if you're looking at public-private partnerships, make sure you don't allow them to put no peak clauses in there, and make sure the DOT is not inundated with unsolicited bids. But we pay our fair share. We will work with you, find out what we need to do to improve the road program. Also, remember that the federal taxes, and they are high and they're numerous on commercial trucking, go into federal highway funds, and they're appropriated back for every highway reauthorization legislation, so we're getting that back. Comment on port traffic. I give you a little commentary from my history on what I think, why we're here, little box, and then freight movements of the future. Imagine I-26 having container trucks moving at night, using existing capacity. Drivers have to want to work those shifts, port would have to accommodate it, unions would have to accommodate it, customs. All the stakeholders would have to cooperate. That would be a great way to take the lead off the commuters and take advantage of the existing infrastructure we've got. And one day, folks, these containers are going to be moving autonomously. There won't be a driver having to sit there and hold that wheel. For a long time, those autonomous, super high-tech vehicles will be rolling. There'll be drivers sitting there ready. Eventually, they'll move over. Sometimes they'll go in a cab, and eventually they won't even be in there with all the route, especially if you can run at night with minimal traffic. That's going to be a game changer. What's changing the game today is the Federal Motor Carrier Safety Administration just last week issued a waiver to an autonomous vehicle manufacturer that says you don't have to have a driver there to physically put out a cone should that truck break down. Take that requirement away, said they got these flashers and it's high tech in every other respect. That's a major milestone as we go towards autonomous trucking. So you will discuss that. I might scare the public, but I believe we will get to the point where in some situations it will be very, very effective and very, very safe. So thank you for the opportunity to address you. You got a lot of information to look at, consider. I'd be happy to talk to you if you come time. Again, I know I'm out of time. Thank you.
Thank you, Rick. That's a lot, it's a lot of information, but that folder is a lot of good information. Thank you so much for sharing that with us. And members, we'll give you, the trucking association's contact information. And then we've got members here from your association. We want to thank them for the work that they do across our state, and we're being helpful to them as they continue to do that. Thank you for all the work that you do and for being here today. Members, we'll get you information if you need, if you have further questions. Thanks. We're going to switch gears for a second and try something because our streaming system is not working very well from that podium. It wasn't Rick's fault, but yeah. But Heather says you messed it up, Rick. And I told her you did. No, no, we're gonna. The speaker has arrived, and we're so glad to see him that we're gonna make him be the guinea pig, go over there and use the feed microphone so you could actually hear him better and let him talk to the streaming as well as the audience here. So welcome, Speaker Smith. We're so glad to have you.
All right, can you hear me? Does it work? Yep. Pick up the mic. Is that working now? Nope. So I'm not a good guinea pig.
Should know that. Here, we're bringing this one over here. Now you got both.
That one works.
Yes, sir.
Can y'all hear? All right, Rick Todd, that's the first time something's not your fault. Since I've seen you up there, so I've always got to take a shot at you. Thank you. But I appreciate you being here. And ladies and gentlemen of the committee, I thank you for being here. This has not been an easy task for you. I know everyone wanted to be on this committee. I had some of y'all that called and asked to be on the committee, and now I'm sure y'all probably sorry that you've done this after you've traveled all over the state of South Carolina and have had to go and spend time away from your families and friends, but this is worth it. This is something that is very, very important. And I listened to Rick Todd's presentation, which was an excellent presentation. And I start thinking the last time we've dealt with reform for DOT was in 2017. And so it's 2025, 8 years. That's not a long time in life, but it is when you think of how far we've advanced. As Rick mentioned, think of the technology advancements that we've had since 2017. Think of the growth that we've had in South Carolina, especially post-COVID. And think about the growth in our economy that we've had, which more people are using our roads, both for business and for pleasure, and to just get around the state of South Carolina. And so this is the purpose, and I know I talked to you all when we started, but this is the purpose of what we need to do as we're moving forward with this committee, and as most importantly with legislation. This is going to be our top priority next year when we come back in session in January. And I tasked y'all, and I hope you are going to be able to accomplish that task, is to have legislation to us for us to start session and for us to bring this to conclusion. First, I want to thank DOT. I see Secretary Powell here. Appreciate you being here. And more importantly, my friend and my Highway Commissioner, Kurt Spencer, thank you for being here. But also, I appreciate the Trucking Association and Rick Todd and American Council of Engineering, South Carolina Asphalt Pavement Association, South Carolina Aggregate Association, Carolina AGC. Appreciate you being partners to work with us, because we all share the same and common goal that we have to improve our roads, and we have to make it not just what's about going to happen tomorrow. As everyone sees, I know everybody wants their roads fixed overnight. That can't happen. But what we can do is plan for the future and plan that we're not going to find ourselves in this situation that we were in 10 or 20 years from now. So this is about the next decade or two. And that's what y'all are doing here. And that's what I really appreciate, is that we're trying to take care of, hearing ideas from Rick of things that just are no brainers, but has not come to our attention, working with DOT to bring up the issues about modernization of our permitting process, speeding up how long it takes to construct roads because of impediments put in either at the state or federal levels. And that's what we need to be talking about, is trying to get South Carolina caught up with our infrastructure needs. So I appreciate you all being here. And your work is going to matter. And hopefully at the end of this legislative session, we're going to pass a bill that is going to be celebrated. It's one that's going to make South Carolina continue on this path of greatness. And that's our job. South Carolina is doing so well by every economic metric. And it's because we got people who will roll up their sleeves, get to work. We have a governor and a Senate who doesn't look at themselves as individuals, but as part of a team, teaming up with these industries out here and teaming up with people who want to make South Carolina go from good to great. And that's our job here, is to make South Carolina great. So I appreciate your work and look forward to continuing working with you.
Pass along to Representative Holmes. Thank you, and thank you, Mr. Speaker, for putting this committee together and for making this a priority. Thanks to all of you again for being here. And up next, we have Adam Jones with American Council of Engineering Companies of South Carolina. Good afternoon. So Adam, if you'll come back here, we'll, the same as Speaker Smith, that way the audience can hear you as well as the folks that are streaming online.
Yeah, that's just the best setup for the stream. You can kind of see your face.
The double mic,
Yeah, nobody's wanted to hear me speak this way. Amen. All right.
Okay, do I need to hold it? I guess I'll hold it. Okay, everybody here? Speaker, glad to see you, Madam Chair and committee. Thanks for having me here. I am Adam Jones. I serve as the Executive Director of the American Council of Engineering Companies of South Carolina, as well as the South Carolina Society of Professional Engineers and the South Carolina Society of Professional Land Surveyors. So I'm here representing the business interests of both the engineering and surveying industries. We represent over 100 firms and several thousand licensed professional engineers who help plan, design, survey, and deliver South Carolina's infrastructure. Over the 28 years, we've had a partnership with SCDOT. This has evolved into a genuine model of collaboration. We work closely with the department through two distinct complementary groups. The first is the ACEC Partnering Committee, which focuses on what I like to say blocking and tackling. So that's kind of everyday coordination. We review manuals, communication, and project delivery. And then we also have the ACEC SCDOT Transportation Executives Committees, where CEOs of our firms meet with Secretary Powell and some of the top execs over there to examine more broader themes and strategic issues affecting the business of engineering, including procurement methods, workforce development, and policies. While we may not always agree, we consistently work towards solutions that benefit the citizens of South Carolina. This partnership matters because the work we do together is essential to South Carolina's continued growth and competitiveness. The engineering and surveying societies also work with other infrastructure partners like Carolina's AGC with a joint committee with SCDOT. And we also work with our paving contractors to examine best practices and work towards what's best for the state of South Carolina. Recently, the ACEC Infrastructure Works Institute, which is our C3, released the economic impact of infrastructure investments in South Carolina. And I put on your table around the table our executive preview of that, and also one page out of that that just strictly is on the DOT. I also emailed everyone on the committee last night a digital copy of the complete study, which breaks down all the way down to the county level, so you can kind of see how it affects in your district. When we did the study, we did ask to do it in political districts because we figured y'all would want that. But Joey Von Nessen, who led the study at USC, just said those lines get so kind of cloudy that we just kept it at the county level. So you can kind of dissect how it will affect each of your districts. What the findings clearly show is investments in infrastructure, and particularly in transportation infrastructure, pay real dividends to our citizens. These investments shorten commute times, improve quality of life, and support the need of our rapidly growing population. They're also the cornerstone to South Carolina's economic development success. Companies choose to come to South Carolina because we're investing in our roads, bridges, and systems that move people, goods, and ideas. So to quantify the impact, from fiscal year 2021 to 2027, construction-related activities by SCDOT alone will directly support 23,226 jobs, generate $10.7 billion in labor income, and produce more than $30.5 billion in economic input. When we account for the multiplier effect across the broader economy, those numbers grow to 37,000 jobs, $16.6 billion in labor income, and over $51.3 billion in total economic output for South Carolina. That's an extraordinary return on investment and a testament to the value of this committee's work to modernization and deliver these transportation projects. But looking forward, ACEC and the engineering surveying industry support giving SCDOT a full range of tools it needs to deliver projects efficiently and effectively. We believe this includes expanding the use of public-private partnerships, lump sum contracting, as well as bringing in new procurement methods like progressive design build and CMGC. These approaches allow for innovation, shared risk, and a greater certainty in both cost and schedule, and benefit that ultimately benefit the taxpayer. As FHWA's capacity is more constrained, South Carolina is increasingly facing delays and bottlenecks in environmental reviews. If we solely rely on federal staff for NEPA evaluations, these slowdowns will continue. To keep our infrastructure programs moving, it makes strategic sense to consider allowing SCDOT to assume NEPA's responsibilities. The SCDOT, if SCDOT were to oversee NEPA responsibilities, it would allow the department to set priorities and coordinate with relevant agencies directly. We see this as a way to speed up project delivery. Other states that are doing this have seen accelerated projects by months and even years. It's also consistent with what our current administration is working on. In an effort to move projects along effectively, efficiently, and sustainably, we support allowing SCDOT to perform NEPA evaluations. I also want to emphasize something that's come up at several of these ad hoc committees, which is capacity. The ACEC South Carolina bench is deep, and we're here for the work. South Carolina's consulting engineering community has talent, technology, and experience to take on more. We have ample capacity to deliver design work across every mode of infrastructure, from bridges and roads to water, broadband, and environmental systems. Our firms are here and willing and waiting. So on behalf of ACEC South Carolina, the South Carolina Site Professional Engineers, and the South Carolina Site Professional Land Surveyors, I want to thank this committee, the leadership at DOT, and the General Assembly for continuing to make smart, forward-thinking investments in our state's infrastructure. We look forward to continuing our partnership to deliver safe, efficient, and resilient transportation networks that our citizens deserve. Thank you.
Same thing, if you want to use the podium over here to the side for the folks online and to the audience. Good morning, Jason. Thank you for being here.
I'm just pulling up your PowerPoint.
Okay.
I was trying to pull up your PowerPoint. You should be able to. Okay.
I can see it from there. All right, thank you. So, we're good. Drive from here. That's all right. Oh, I see what we got. All right. Well, Mr. Speaker, Madam Co-Chairs, members of this committee, I want to thank you so much for the opportunity to speak in front of you all today. My name is Jason Jordan. I'm the Executive Director of the South Carolina Asphalt Pavement Association, and I'm here to tell you a little bit about ourselves and some things we've been seeing. All right, so first and foremost, SCAPA is South Carolina Asphalt Pavement Association, and our membership is comprised of folks that have asphalt production facilities across the state, and any companies that are affiliated with the road construction industry here in the state as well. So when you see anything SCAPA, usually you'll see the motto, "Together we know more." We were formed in 1966 by 10 forward-thinking contractors at the time. Around that time, Governor McNair was leading the state. We had Highway Commissioner Pearman. The interstate system was just in its infancy. So I-20, I-26, I-95 still were miles away from even being completed. And at the time, I-77, discussions to extend I-77 to Columbia hadn't even began yet. As I mentioned, our motto, "Together we know more," really lends itself to why we exist. The association itself, we engage in the production of high-quality asphalt mixes across the state, where we make environmentally friendly asphalt pavements ranging from tennis courts to airport runways, parking lots, and of course, streets and highways as well. Just a quick snapshot of our SCAPA leadership. We have Mr. Lee Harrelson of Coastal Asphalt, Mr. Daniel Littell of Rogers Group, and Mr. Gene Sarton, our SCAPA president, who's in attendance with me today. I joked with Gene that at the last meeting, Mr. Henderson got all the hard questions in the back of the room. So if y'all have any hard paving questions, Gene will be available for you all. All right. So just, you curious, we all drive asphalt every day, right? But, really what goes into asphalt, and it's really the 3 A's. It's air, aggregates, and asphalt binder. And you'll hear from Ms. Palmer with the Aggregates Association next, but those 3 components are really kind of the 3 main ones of asphalt. And what I tell folks all the time is it's very similar to a Rice Krispie treat. So not to be outdone by the pizza guy in Myrtle Beach. I brought some props today too, but it's very much like a Rice Krispie treat. Just don't eat the asphalt. But what you see though is asphalt delivers performance for agencies and owners that they demand, and they're safe, they're smooth, we can build them quickly and turn them around, and again, just improving our community and our state. So a snapshot of our members across the state. We have 13 producer members in SCAPA, anywhere from Hardyville up to Blacksburg,
Anderson to Myrtle Beach, Rock Hill down to Aiken. We really cover the entire footprint of this state. And we partner with our suppliers and our subcontractors to help deliver SCDOT's program and our local folks as well. But I'll add to that, a lot of these companies are homegrown here in South Carolina. These folks work within their communities. They live here, they vote here, they pay taxes. They're here in our communities, in your communities. And one thing I'll add too about their plant facilities is, you know, we tell folks all the time, those plants are like economic engines here in the state. To the segue there, Mr. Jones covered the economic impact of infrastructure, so I won't rehash that. But one thing that was mentioned in that study was that, you know, pretty much for the next 10 years, they're forecasting a need of 157,000 new jobs in that time frame. So it certainly will bring a challenge as far as how we educate, how we train, how we certify the future pool of workforce. So capacity certainly has been a hot topic or something that has been brought up in some of these past meetings. You know, really prior to Act 40, we had, you know, decades of neglect, but as part of Act 40, really the strategy was a ramped up strategy. And what we've seen is the industry has ramped up with the program as well. You're seeing new capital investment in plants, equipment, and even in our workforce. You know, we had a workforce awareness campaign years ago. We're partnering with our partners of Be Pro, Be Proud. You're seeing a lot of investment into workforce development. And then also the other thing I'd note is, you know, the industry's production output really has had an upward trend just from one-time monies in the pavement program for several years now. But what we are starting to see is the trend starting to reverse due to inflation. So to kind of expand on that, the impact of inflation, we ran a survey for our members last year and for DOT, and really just diving into some of the costs. And what you could see is on the raw material side, an average of 42% increase, on the labor side, an average of 23%. And then even on the equipment side, an increase of 32%. And, you know, to even add to that, you know, some things we're hearing from our equipment partners is just even the stress that they're seeing from the federal level with tariffs and whatnot. So it'll be interesting to see where equipment is in the coming months as well. You know, the other thing I'll add to that is we are hearing from, you know, our state partners or partners from other states as well. And we're not alone in this inflationary pressure. So to expand on that, you know, as you can see on the graphs here, Secretary Powell and others have touched on this about the power of the penny the past few years and what we can accomplish with that penny of the gas tax. And you can really start to see we're starting to have fewer and fewer miles that we're able to get out there. And also to add to that is, you know, I guess as of September of next year, you'll start to see the Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Act on the federal level sunset as well. So from a federal investment standpoint, it will provide some additional challenges for the agency as well. So for the partnerships, the asphalt industry is the largest contributor to the paving program for DOT, for CTCs, local governments. We collaborate with our engineering, supplier, trucking, and general contracting partners as well to deliver that program for those owners. And really to kind of expand on our partnership with SCDOT, I was doing a deep dive this week, but I'd found an image from, you know, right after we were formed. This was from 1967, back when SCAPA and the Highway Department had a joint technical committee really trying to work through issues, even, you know, 59 or, you know, 58 years ago. So you can see a longstanding relationship with SCDOT. To expand on that, we got several committees, much like Adam had mentioned with their organization. We have our joint asphalt committee, which is our executive team meeting with DOT's leadership team, and we really discuss high-level issues that impact the state, but also our businesses. One product out of that committee years ago was, if you all may remember, when the cement shortage happened. You know, that was an issue that we discussed in that committee, and really kind of form some solutions and how a path forward. We also have our quality improvement committee, which we look at specifications that our folks see on jobs day to day. We have our partners in quality program. So what that is our folks meet with our engineering districts across the state. So DOT's got 7 engineering districts. Our contractors go to those engineering districts and they talk through best practices. They try to get on the same page before every winter before paving season starts. So we do come together to work on that. And then we also have things like our quality pavement awards, where local offices, local DOT offices and our contractors will partner together and submit kind of the best of the state, and really, collaborating on those type of efforts. And then I'd be remiss not to mention, it's been touched on in this committee, just some of the disaster response of this past year. You've seen the impacts of Hurricane Helene, Tropical Storm Debbie, and even Father's Day weekend, the I-20 shutdown. Each time our industry has met the call with our partners. So to I guess kind of wrap this up for you all, just as you saw in my presentation, infrastructure is of course a massive deal for the state and the state's economy. We've got a longstanding, solid working relationship with SCDOT, great working relationship with Secretary Powell. Our sides, we talked about this the other day, but our sides don't always see eye to eye, but we really do come together to find compromise and how we can put our best foot forward for the taxpayers. I want to thank members of this committee for your hard work looking under the hood to improve efficiencies. I know you got a lot there, but my ask for the committee is, give DOT the resources and tools they need, like Mr. Jones mentioned, like P3, for example. Tools like that allow for innovation, balancing risk, which are major benefits that will yield positive results for the taxpayers. I also want to challenge you to, it's been touched on before as well, but modernize how we generate funding for the future. Certainly, as you saw with the lane miles, we definitely have a lot to, we've got quite the issue there. And then also how we modernize our education and workforce development efforts for our state. So as you saw, the 157,000 future need there is a pretty big deal. And then last but not least, I want to applaud y'all for all you did for improving our work zones back at 24. And really just my ask is to continue to modernize our work zone safety so that our folks can get home to their families each night. So again, thank you very much for your hard work on that. And yeah, just want to thank you so much for your time today, the opportunity to come speak to you all and let you know about us and what was in front of us. So thank you all so much. Oh.
Jessica Palmer. Jessica with the South Carolina Aggregates Association. Thank you for being here, Jessica.
Well, ready on in there? Let's check. Oh, this is not there. This one is you.
And while we have a minute, while they're getting that set up, let me say, because we forgot in the beginning, so I apologize. But I want to take a minute to introduce our staff that really help us kind of keep this train moving and keep us organized. To my left here, we have Nils Carlton. He is our budget analysis on the House Ways and Means Committee for our Transportation and Regulatory Budget Subcommittee. Also, we have Emma. Emma is over here in the hall and is counsel for Education and Public Works in this committee with Chairman Erickson, and she has to set all of our tech stuff up and running. And,
Well, it's not working for people watching.
Lauren, we have also over here, Lauren Shehorn, and she is our executive assistant.
If it's in presenter view,
for, she does every position. Everything going for us.
Well, it'll just show like the first
To be,
page.
helps us get our meetings set up as we are on our listening tour, visiting all around South Carolina. So just want to say thanks to them and all the other staff that are here today behind the scenes that help us in our day-to-day work serving the people of South Carolina. So thanks to you guys. And I think we're ready to go. So Jessica, thank you for being here.
Thank you. Is this on? Can you guys hear me? Yeah. Perfect. Well, thank you so much. I'm Jessica Palmer. I'm the Executive Director for the South Carolina Aggregates Association. I asked you and gave a formal testimony back in Greenville. So today is a little bit more just a chance to tell you a little more about the association and the industry itself. Kind of some of the things that we've been doing from the association standpoint and just some of the collaboration that we've been doing with DOT. Today we do have with us, I have Bill Perry and Brandon McLeod there with Heidelberg Materials, and then Paul Edwards is with Reeves Construction. There are a few of our members that we have. Excuse me. So the aggregates industry, we're essential for the infrastructure and construction and growth of South Carolina. So it's a very interesting industry. I know it doesn't seem, it's rocks, construction, aggregates, and sand, but it is very unique industry, and it is definitely something vital for what we need in order for all of the exciting growth that we have coming to the state. So 38,000 tons of aggregates is in every 1 mile of highway that we have. So our producer member companies represent 60 quarries and sand mining operations in 26 counties across the state. And then we also have associate companies that support the construction aggregate mining operations of those producer members. The unique thing about our industry is in the products it is geographically dependent. So you can't mine hard rock from the coast. So the fall line kind of falls, kind of split the state in, 2/3. Hard rock, the granite comes from the upper 2/3 of the state, and then you have kind of sand from the bottom side. So kind of keeping that in mind of we have to mine it from where the product is. That's where God put it. That's where we have to get it from. So when our companies are investing those dollars here, they have to make sure that it makes sense for them to put the quarries in the sand mines. So, when they're looking into permitting and investing those capital dollars, they have to look forward for it. The aggregates industry contributes $847 million economically impact to the state. Our member companies invest hundreds of millions of dollars of their capital investments into South Carolina's economy. Our aggregates industry creates over 3,000 South Carolina jobs. And in 2024, our member companies shipped over 34 million tons of construction aggregates into the state's projects. We are committed to safety, sustainability, and environmental stewardship. We always want to make sure that we are protecting not only our folks, but also the folks that are in the, neighborhoods and communities that we operate and do business in. And in addition to that, we also want to ensure that we are leaving the areas in which that they are doing business better than when we found them. So industry relationships, I know Jason touched on it as well, but we have really great and strong relationships. When I came on board with the association 3 years ago, it was important to me that, we got out here and we created relationships with our legislature as well as with our state agencies, our regulators and our policymakers. And, we talked about capacity and investing with this, and it's important to us that you guys know that, our members understand what's coming in front of us. They are committed to continuing to invest, but understanding that, our partners know that you understand our business, but they are committed to investing in the state and to the continued growth, but through workforce development and education. And we have partnered with Be Proud, Be Proud. We have a strong relationship with our CTC centers, as well as with our allied industry partners. And as well as with the Aggregates Association itself, we have within our education committee, we are developing a program where we are working very closely with our workforce development and going through and working within the different counties in the state with the cities and trying to help develop programs where we can go in and help create opportunities to get students involved and engaged and excited about opportunities within the construction industry. So we understand what's coming and that, this next crop of students, we've got to get them engaged and excited about it. So aggregates, like I said, we face unique challenges, and as the demand on construction materials increases, it's important for our agencies and our partners to understand that. An understanding of the industry operations and our product balance is crucial for our plants to operate efficiently, and the relationships and the collaboration is going to be crucial for the success of the state's infrastructure. So as I'd mentioned, the product balance is crucial. Working together is going to be imperative, and we appreciate the collaboration that we've had with the DOT, and we continue to have those continuing ongoing conversations with them. We have some solutions that we continue to work with them on, and we appreciate that they're always willing to come to the table with us to discuss those. Like I said, as the increase on construction materials that demand is going to go up, it's going to be imperative that we, continue to come to the table and work together towards these solutions. So our ask is just that we continue to have a collaborative business relationship with DOT and the state agencies, understanding our business and the unique challenges that we face. Ask the legislature that you guys continue to support them as you have. Continue to, I echo what Jason and Adam and Rick have also said, that supporting their funding and the programs that they need. Thank you to them for being receptive to what's being done successfully in other states and being receptive to us and our ideas. And we understand that, everything we bring to the table may not work, but being open to hearing our suggestions and working with us to try to find common ground and solutions that's going to work for everybody. So with that being said, I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much for your time today. Thank you for hearing us again. Thank you for having us at the table. So. All right. Thank you so much.
Jessica. Stop. We have Carolina's AGC, Leslie Clark. Thank you, Leslie. Thanks for being here. God, heck, Lynette, I hadn't even started.
And you'll kind of be able to see where you are.
Okay.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair, members of the committee. My name is Leslie Clark. I'm the COO and Vice President of External Affairs for Carolina's AGC. Carolina's AGC is a two-state construction association that represents highway building and utility contractors, as well as subcontractors and suppliers in both South Carolina and North Carolina. We have over 20,000 members and are the largest chapter in South Carolina, in the country, and have been around since 1920. Our members are the contractors building the roads and bridges in South Carolina, several of whom are in the audience today. You guys raise your hand. Today, I have with me the updated and newly published 2025 standard spec book for highway construction. This 800-page book, 800-plus page book, spells out the specification my members must follow to build roads and bridges in South Carolina for SCDOT. Some may say this is why it takes so long to get a project built in South Carolina. But there are many hurdles There are utility delays that drastically affect the contractor's ability to expedite and finish on time, permits that are challenged, inspections after rain events that all but shut a project down despite proper controls by a contractor, limited access and stringent requirements for a project that crosses a railroad right-of-way, and even the northern long-eared bat. It's endangered and it lives in culverts and under bridges and faces extinction, which can cause delay when our members are working on a road or bridge. So there are many, many challenges. Representative Brewer might throw the turtle in there too. Yes. In addition, like all employers across the state, we must have workers. Add to that, our industry is looking for quite different workers, unique individuals. This is not a sexy industry. It's hot, it's cold, the hours are long, and we have to work at night so that we do not hinder the motoring public. So something that we take very seriously. But we have enough contractors. If you hear nothing else I say today, please hear we have enough contractors to build the roads and bridges in South Carolina. Our members have invested in equipment, new plants, and have expanded hiring across the state so that we can address the infrastructure needs of the state and of SCDOT. A lot of times y'all only hear the negative information about the delays and the frustration, but I promise you there are many, many successes. When I asked for feedback from my members, one shared this. We just finished a $100 million job 16 months early and are getting ready to finish a $50 million job at least 4 months early. We are meeting expectations and are hungry for more work. I can share story after stories like this. Projects are delayed for a variety of issues, some of which I've already mentioned, but after and since COVID, we've also had to deal with supply chain issues and inflation, which Casey Swager with King Asphalt shared with y'all at the meeting in Greenville. Congestion and capacity are not the same thing. South Carolina is dealing with a significant amount of congestion, but our industry has the capacity to do the work. Our members work very closely with Secretary Powell and his team at SCDOT, and we support several of the issues that the Secretary has proposed, including South Carolina taking over the NEPA process, the consideration of a coordinating council that for transportation, and the inclusion of phased-in design build and other methods, which provides additional procurement options to assist SCDOT and the industry to complete jobs faster. And of course, additional funding for bridges, which you all have been so kind to fund over the last few years. We would also support SCDOT publishing a multi-year project list. Planning is the key to completing projects in a timely fashion. The hurdles I mentioned earlier require significant planning so that member projects can stay on time and under budget. Having a multi-year project list would assist my members in planning and budgeting further so that we can work to avoid as many delays as possible. Daily, my members strive to make sure our goals align with all of the industry partners from SCDOT down, including all the ones you've already heard from today, so that we can deliver projects that are safe, under budget, and ahead of schedule, and so you don't have to receive complaints from your constituents. I want to thank all of you for the commitment to this committee and for exploring ways to address the congestion that we are all experiencing as our state continues to grow. We are committed to the same. I would also like to invite every member of the committee to join us on an interstate project at night in your district so you can experience what it's like to work on the side of the road, or in some cases, in the middle of the interstate, in the dark, while cars are whizzing by at 80 miles an hour. Since all of you have probably driven through a work zone, an active work zone, we'd love for you to experience the work zone from a different perspective. Just let me or Whitney Williams know, and we will coordinate with our members who have active projects in your district. Thank you.
Thank you, Liz, for being here. As a member from Horry County, the fastest growing area east of the Mississippi, I would love to join you on a interstate project in my district. Okay. So if you could help me get one of those, I'd be happy. First, I'll have you to join in that venture. So, look forward to visiting a work project in Horry County going interstate soon. No, I could not let that go, sorry. Sorry, not sorry. Thank you, Leslie. Thank you to all of you for being here. We appreciate all of our stakeholders. Your input is important and invaluable. Thank you so much, for traveling around the state with us and for all the information you've given us. Again, to our members, we will, be sure you have some of this already in front of you. Be sure that you get the rest of it electronically as well, so that you have it for your binders. We are going to take a few minutes since we're doing it on time. So we'd like to open it up for questions while we have our stakeholders in the room. If any of our members have questions, we're going to take a few minutes for questions. So with that, does anybody have a question? First, Representative. Not at all. I look, I mean, it could be one of these. Must be those, what are those two?
I've heard this from several speakers talking about procurement, talking about workforce development, talking about different things that we can do with inside the structure of our DOT. So we have some DOT representatives here. I wonder if there's anything they can kind of chime in, where we stand on some of that, where we're moving with some of these things. I know we've been talking about this for a number of years, and just kind of an update of where we stand, what types of procurements, where we're looking at on workforce development. I know there's some ideas that I've heard thrown out there from workforce development, where if you announce a job in an area, everybody knows a big interchange is going to happen in the area, right? Everybody knows that the industry needs people as well as the DOT needs people. Are we working together to have job fairs in those areas when we announce those jobs? Are we working together to make sure that we are getting these job slots filled? Are we working together to get these bigger and better procurement methods in place? What are these bigger and better procurement methods? I know P3 has been something that's been brought up in our area significantly. Charleston area, choice lanes that Mr. Todd mentioned earlier was something that's very, very much on the table. Representative Robbins and I and several others developments, as well as phase design build. These are methods that we want to see coming. We want to know what the progress is on implementing these. And you know, our sales tax referendum, we have an issue going on with our sales tax referendum. We hear throughout the state, Horry County's got a sales tax referendum, Beaufort does, Charleston, Berkeley, Dorchester does. Are we being penalized in places where these sales tax referendums are happening? Stuff that we need to do is Act 114 causing issues because of this, because 80% of those sales tax referendums money is being spent on state roads. So there's stuff like that. We just want to get an update on to see if there's something we can speak to. It's a lot.
If you'll come to this one, it works better. Be behind you.
I'll bring it back to you, I promise. Just so the people can hear you.
Of course. All right. Madam Chairs, members of the committee, Representative Brewer, that's a lot to unpack. So let me just kind of start off, first of all, with kind of the relationship we have with the industry. And obviously, I thank everybody for coming up here today. So as kind of was shared, we have regular joint committee meetings with basically every single one of the industry groups. So yesterday, the Aggregate Association was in our offices, meeting with our construction office, my deputy secretary for engineering, Rob Perry, SCAPA, the asphalt paving, we had that meeting, I want to say it was Tuesday. Time's speeding up on us, but we have the same conversation. I know that we just had recent conversation with the Trucking Association with Mr. Todd and his group, particularly on oversized, overweight issues as we go through making sure how we can move things across the state. So I guess I would just kind of top it off. I think we actively engage. The spec book that Leslie advertised there was the first update we had. I feel like I'm about to put it in my nose, Chair. But the spec book was the first update we had since, I want to say 15 to 20 years from there. So it was the first time it had been updated and reviewed. Obviously, we had an active and robust conversation with the industry. They went chapter through chapter with us. We didn't always 100% agree on things, but that's part of the normal process. We want to work that we're collaborative, that we're able to talk about issues and have that open dialogue. In terms of procurement in the state, I think I'll try to tackle that first question from you, Representative Brewer. There are two predominant methods by which we procure. The most common way is called bid build. Basically, we have a set of plans, a defined scope, a defined timeline for delivery. That spec book provides pretty much the rules of engagement on what's the contractor responsibility, what's the DOT's responsibility through the delivery of that project. That is almost every paving job, the majority of our bridges, safety work all across the state. We use what's known as design build. That's been in the code for about 25 years. The first major design build project was the Ravenel Bridge down in Charleston. It's where we go and we take a best value approach where you're going through with a contractor and with a designer, and they come up, we get plans up to a certain point where they come up with a best ideas, best possibility, and you do a best value. So it's a combination of both the ideas being presented and the price. There are other means and methods available in the state, not in the state, but are approved by the Federal Highway Administration. Those include either phase design build or progressive design build, depending on which states you're in and which you select the contractor and designer up front before you have a price proposal, and then you work collaboratively together on that. Construction manager, general contractor, CMGC, similar type format where you bring the contractor in early. Again, it probably wouldn't be something we would do every day, but would be something on certain projects of difficulty or scale from there. P3 is another thing we've talked about where you bring in a private vendor to design, build, operate, finance, maintain from there. So I'm trying to remember all of your points here, but I would say, design build and bid build are common in there. Many of our other states have some of those other alternative contracting methods. Certainly something that, from my perspective as secretary of the department, I would be interested in having the toolbox. Having the tool in the toolbox is making sure you know how to use the right tool at the right time for a project and being able to apply it to the right project. Because there's projects where bid build doesn't make sense and design build makes sense. And we've learned maybe a little hard way where there are projects where we've had design build and it didn't work out as well, and we've gone more for bid build. I'd say on interstate widening right now, we are much more bid build than we were because of some of the challenges we've had in Cherokee and Spartanburg counties with a design build project there. So
I think workforce was the last.
and workforce. So certainly we support the Be Proud effort that the AGC and many of the other industry groups are doing in terms of encouraging folks to go into trades. We've already made our own workforce adjustments salary-wise to fill our maintenance and our construction ranks. Seen our increase on that. In terms of the, one of the challenges we publish what's called the tentative list, is where we go and we kind of indicate to the industry, this is both on the consultant side and the contractor side, of what's coming up, what's on the horizon in terms of building. Do the same thing on design build, try to give as much early look on that. One of the challenges you have, obviously, though, is you want to make sure the industry is ready to go and prepared to respond to any contracts you might have out there. But a permit delay could mean a project slips 6 months, and so therefore you don't want to overdo that. We have other information out there. Our statewide transportation improvement program kind of shows on a multi-year basis what's on the horizon. But obviously, it's a dialogue, and we work to try to update and improve both for the consultants and the engineers. What's up on ahead so that we can maximize the competition we get.
Secretary, let's share the mic. Secretary, if you just want to hang tight there, this is the question for you. I'll give the microphone right back to you.
Thank you to all that came and presented to us, and Madam Co-Chairs. I don't think it's coincidental at all that several of our presenters today talked about the NEPA process being brought back to the states. So I know that there's a real appetite between our leadership and committee members here to support bringing back and joining the other states, 8 states across the country, who have brought back their NEPA process back to the states. And I just want to make sure I understood correctly from our last meeting, Secretary Powell, that you also think that would be a good idea, and any other thoughts you'd have with bringing that NEPA process back to the state.
Yes, sir. No, the NEPA assignment, it's something that's been in federal law for a number of years. Actually, it's not just red states doing it. California is also a state that does it as well, but Texas, Florida, Nebraska, Utah, Arizona have all shown success with that program. One of the challenges, and Mr. Jones from the ACEC kind of highlighted it, there has been a pretty significant cutback at staffing at the federal level right now. So permits, environmental decisions for federal highways for South Carolina are no longer being done in South Carolina. They're actually being done out of North Carolina right now. So for us to prioritize and to work on that, it's been working fine right now, but it gives us an opportunity to prioritize, understand the risk, and make sure that we can do that coordination not only with all the local, federal, and state permitting agencies, all the folks that get an opportunity to comment, DES, DNR, Fish and Wildlife, Army Corps of Engineers. We have a lot of those relationships already on the ground in South Carolina that we can leverage. And again, it doesn't change the standard by which any decision is rendered, that we still have to do all of our due diligence, that we consider all impacts on a project. So it's not short circuiting or second guessing anything. It is really allowing kind of that final decision point to lay within the Department of Transportation, subject to the review and audit of the Federal Highway Administration.
Thank you.
Thank you, Secretary Powell. Thank you. I have no other questions in the queue. So with that, we will move on to public input. I'm gonna hand the mic over to Chair Lady Erickson, and we will begin our public input. For anyone that is not speaking today, or anyone that wants to submit written testimony, or anyone that's listening to us through the streaming service, you can submit your written comments to us at scHouseEPW@schouse.gov. That's scHouseEPW@schouse.gov. And I will hand the mic over to Chair Lady Erickson while we get set up for public input. Thank you very much, Chairman Crawford. Good information. Thank you so much to everyone, all of our stakeholders who came today and presented. We appreciate you coming out and letting us know good, bad, and ugly. That's really important that we have this very honest conversations, and we'll continue to work on these areas. Person Crawford gave you the email address. We hope that you can use that with any comments that you have. Another thing that I'll bring up right now is our last, visit around the state before we move back to the Columbia location will be our next meeting in Charleston on November the 3rd, which is the Monday, at Trinity Technical College at 5 p.m. So that meeting is coming up. Charleston, November 3rd, which is Monday. And it's a little like Monday mornings, but Monday afternoon isn't great either, but that's the way it goes on this particular time. That's when they have the room available at Trinity Tech, 5 p.m. Public testimony, we're going to have you at that podium. You won't be directly on camera, but you will have both mics and be able to hear you much better. And that way we'll get the rest of the committee with your comments. We ask you to talk or speak for 3 minutes. And the time clock will be up here, so please listen for the alarm that goes off. Are you ready to go? Okay. First up, David Merchant from Municipal Perspective. David is the mayor of the city of Sumter, and we welcome you very much to the podium, and thank you for welcoming us to your city.
Yes, ma'am. Is this microphone working or I need to know? Good. So yeah, thank you. Welcome to Sumter. Thanks for coming. I wish we could have eaten lunch here, spent some money in Sumter, and be sure to do that before you leave. Once you promote a couple times, we sell water here too. So I get my cheesy mayor line out of the way. But no, I do come from the public perspective with my mayor goggles on and 43,000 stakeholders we have that I represent in the city of Sumter. And Sumter's in the path of progress. Yeah, no problem. Still good? So, something's in the path of progress. Let me read you this. Economic Development Board meeting this morning, and we were reminded, according to the latest Metro Economic Scorecard, some score agency, Sumter's employment grew 2.9% over the last 12 months. This incredible momentum has moved us from 193 to number 17 out of 277 small metros nationwide for job growth. So we say we're in the path of progress. As things move up from Charleston to the coast, we're in the path of progress. We're seeing that with hundreds of millions of dollars of investment, new jobs, higher wages, and all the things we want to do to make our community prosper. The speaker mentioned earlier about, the plans that are being made is for 10 years, for decades, 2 decades, 3 decades down the road. So thinking of that, we're in the path of progress. What can we do now? Make sure small rural metros and small rural areas, the infrastructure is taken care of to meet those needs as we continue to grow. And that's just my overall theme, continuing the funding and sources and streamlining some of the processes. I'll speak in general. I do have one specific I'd like to mention, if I can keep it in time. Positive note, we appreciate the efforts of our local DOT partnering with us around the state. The San Ron, your crews do a fantastic job of just helping us with the overall looks of our community, trimming trees, helping in medians, cleaning sidewalks, contracting litter crews. We appreciate that. We do have challenges. City of Sumter owns 104 miles of streets in Sumter. And it's approximately $500,000 worth of seed funds that we get every year to help maintain those, which allows us to pave a road approximately every 50 years. So, as speaker mentioned, again, we all want a road paved, we all want a road fixed tomorrow. It makes it difficult, and we know that's impossible. What can we do to increase that funding so we can give the quality of life and improve roads for all our stakeholders in Sumter? Continued investment in that infrastructure, as I mentioned, the cost of road prices skyrocketed and the need continues to grow every day. For example, we've got an ongoing project now with a bridge on a major road in the community with commercial uses, YMCA, funeral homes, and other commercial stores. Had a fire truck go over, broke a bracket, shifted the bridge, and shut it down immediately. It's being fixed now, which is great. But that's just a sign, as you know, of our infrastructure in the communities all across the state. A challenge that we see, that I've seen in my time as mayor, bureaucracy associated with SCDOT project delivery has eroded our buying power, so to speak, over the last decade. The time from project funding to construction is slow to keep up with the needs that we have. Our constituents, to the point where our constituents are losing confidence in us. They come to city council meetings like, when is that ever going to happen? When are we going to see this? For example, we've got the North Main Manning Avenue corridor project going on right now. And our local project manager does a fantastic job. Can send you a shout out. I know you're going to cringe when I mention that project. You do a great job with your facing the fans and facing the questions. Sometimes we jump on you about. We appreciate the information you give us. So thank you, sir. Just a snapshot on that. Let me give specifics on that project. It's a $26 million round number project. Improving a major corridor, our North Main through downtown, which has already been redone out Manning Avenue, out towards 521. It was a 2014 local penny sales tax referendum project, 2014. That combined with federal funding, some MPO funding, and a little bit of state engineering funding is where the money's coming from on that. DOT's managed that project for us. It was my first meeting I called as a new guy mayor in 2020, where Representative Weeks, Speaker Smith, DOT, Chairman McCain, and staffs, we all came, how can we kickstart this project? Remember, it was initially sold to the community in 2014. So we expressed our concerns about delays at that meeting in 2020. And just last month, we started moving power poles outside of sidewalks to start that corridor project. So what that looks like, I don't know. I guess that's the purpose of this board, this body in front of us. How can we streamline that project? Because that's a prime example of the public and the community losing confidence in us at a local level, promising a project they haven't seen. In closing, I just ask you to consider these changes, consider it from our standpoint, from the public standpoint, from the folks that ride it every day, that elect all of us that are up here. Give us greater flexibility to get projects done faster. And any options that would increase funding to aid, that they get those 100 miles paved on a more regular basis. And then another one I failed to mention is utility relocation. Assistance in some legislation on utility relocation where it is on our, let's say it's a state bridge gets changed, that particular bridge, we, the city of Sumter, is responsible for paying for that utility relocation. Another example, we got a $1.6 million intersection project that's being tabled right now because it's $660,000 for utility relocation for water lines. on that, water sewer lines on that. So those are challenges that we face, in the city of Sumter that I see from the mayor's office. So appreciate your time, appreciate what you're doing, and I wish you best of luck.
Thank you, Mayor. If only we knew somebody high up in the General Assembly to talk to.
No,
From Sumter. Yeah, no, we understand. I'm actually dealing with a water line utility problem in Beaufort. You're not alone. It is definitely difficult sometimes to get all the pieces to work together, especially on a job that large.
Thanks for your consideration.
Thank you so much. And I will make sure Speaker Smith here's all of your comments I wrote down. I should have also said, and I apologize. We're getting on these meetings so often that I'm forgetting some of the housekeeping things. Robert Dickinson and Jason Fulmer are here. They are your local SCDOT folks. If you have a specific area, something that you need to speak to about DOT and the local Sumter area, they are your guys, and they are in the back of the room. They're waving, or there they are, they're sitting down, sorry. And they will take those and get you answers and help you through that process. That's what they are here for. So this up here is for state policy, which the mayor was alluding to on the timeliness and things of how we work together and get this progress moving with permitting. I believe is probably the biggest piece of most of that work that we were discussing earlier. But any local specific areas that you may have, pothole, big bumps, those are the guys. Thank you, Robert and Jason, for being here and doing that work. We appreciate you. Next up is Matthew Payne, Archer, Western and Carolina Association of General Contractors. Thanks so much for being here.
Good afternoon. Thank you for having me. And I'll also be taking Chris Boyd's position next. He had to leave, so it will roll in. We're tag teaming and my colleagues. So I appreciate it. Good afternoon, co-chairs and members of the committee. As mentioned, I'm Matthew Payne. I serve as senior design build manager for Archer Western. I'm a licensed professional civil engineer and spent 25 years delivering complex transportation and infrastructure projects across the Carolinas and the Southeast. We're a proud member of Carolina's AGC, and we worked hand in hand with SCDOT for many years. Today, I'm going to talk about phase design build, and we believe it should be adopted as an authorized procurement method for SCDOT. What is it and why it matters? Secretary Powell alluded to it earlier, but traditional design build and bid build often require agencies to define every element of the project or what they know at the time, and without fully understanding all the risks that are involved. Risk to the project is like permitting conditions, utilities, right-of-way, environmental impacts all add to the risk. Phase design build works differently. It allows SCDOT to start design early, refine the scope collaboratively, and commit to pricing only once major risks are understood. It's about smarter sequencing, designing, validating, and then building, while maintaining cost and schedule control. One of the benefits of South Carolina is that this is good for an unknown project, not well-defined projects with super high risk. You've heard it again and again. Environmental process utilities are a prime example. It can accelerate permitting by allowing early agency coordination and partial submittals. It invites stakeholders and public input early before final design decisions are made, reducing rework and building community buy-in to the project. It aligns scope and budget, helping the department start with a full wish list and then right-size the project as you learn the costs as you go through the process. And you still achieve the purpose and need of the project through phase design build. This is not theory, it's working today. Phase design build has long been standard practice for water and wastewater industry. Right now it's being used in North Carolina for 5 Hurricane Helene recovery projects. In Ohio and Kentucky, it's being used for the Brent Spence Bridge replacement, one of the nation's largest infrastructure efforts ongoing right now. Closer to home, Archer Western worked with SCDOT for the Asheville I-26, I-240 interchange project, which the bids all came in well over budget. And we entered into a backhoe process with SCDOT in which they implemented a phased design build approach, where we sat down for 6 months, went through the project, came up with ways to de-scope. I'll wrap up. Ways to de-scope and optimize the project. The constraints were met, the budget constraints were met, and the project still meets the purpose. By authorizing phase design build, we can give SCDOT flexible, transparent, and collaborative tools to manage complex transportation projects, deliver better outcomes faster, greater public trust. It's not about replacing existing methods, it's just adding another option that fits in an ever-evolving transportation.
Thank you very much. We appreciate that.
So I'm gonna roll into my partner, so I'll try and keep it real quick.
I'm sorry, we thought it was 1 for 3 because it's somehow the same thing.
Okay.
That's all right. Can you submit that to us in writing?
I will, I'll do that.
Thank you so much. Next up is Anthony Art, Osprey Break.
Thank you, ma'am. So, committee, how are you, Secretary? Ms. Simmons told me to be sure to mention that, to the people that are viewing this online, that this can be forwarded to them in an email, but you will not be able to see it. Short video, about 59 seconds.
The video will actually put the link on our transcript for this meeting, so it'll also be accessible that way. Thank you.
At this point, we are at beginning stages of our feasibility study in the state, and look forward to working with DOT as we begin this part. We would have done that already, but fortunately, our federal government shut down, and eventually our powers and people come together and enlighten us with that. But I think this is a project that is time for South Carolina. We are in the middle, and I'm sure many of the committee members here know that South Carolina is in the middle of an economic boom, and people are moving here. Right now, the state government tells us that we got about 5.5 to 6 million people in our state. By 2037, that number could be 15 to 18 million. We act now, we'll be ready to be able to move people on an intrastate level and not bringing this train into downtown Charleston or downtown Columbia or downtown Great Globe. We want to work with this and work with our partners for everybody who has spoken here and see that we can move people, as Congressman Rivers and I spoke about, and being able to work, stay where they are and work and bring that as our, as corporations come into South Carolina, we can get workers to them and they can stay where they are. Develop our rural areas, bring our people to these challenges. I appreciate the committee's time.
Thank you very much. Again, we'll have that website in our minutes, yes. Thank you so much. Up next, Eric Carlson, South Carolina 811 Board of Directors. Great to see you, Eric. Thanks for being here.
Thank you. Madam Chair, members of the committee, as Leslie mentioned earlier, utility projects and construction projects have lots of challenges. Here today to address quickly some of the utility delays on infrastructure projects, construction projects. And, introduce I am Eric Carlson. I'm a South Carolina resident. Like each of you, we wear different hats. Utility contractor out of Charleston. I'm also a board member for SCDOT 811, representing the needs of excavators in South Carolina and their concerns. Some of you've heard a lot from me, Representative Bennett, Representative Hager, Representative Guthrie, but we just updated the 811 laws in South Carolina. I want to commend the 811 group for their work, DOT for their work. And it's kind of funny, 2 weeks ago, I got ready to leave, go to a job site first car Monday morning. Get to the job site, located there, finishing up part of the utilities. We've got crews lined up, we've got cones out, we've got trucks parked on the side of the road, flashing lights everywhere that we're set up and working. The locator finishes, we look around, it's like, well, we're still missing some of the utility marks. There's work that's about to happen, but we're not quite ready. So if you're familiar with the 811 process, we've got to stop calling for remarks. We've got to get the utilities back out there. These are some of the challenges that face us on a daily basis that face the traffic and public as we're out there and getting ready to work. So we call in some remarks, get some new tickets called in, wait a few more days, get ready to start the project. My client's calling asking, did we take a week off? Did we go on vacation? Why are the delays happening? Why aren't you doing your work? Well, it's one of those things that kind of happens, much like sending a text to a teenage daughter, which I no longer have, she's a little bit older. I'd wait days and days to find out if she got my text, just to get an answer back that says, okay. But the DOTs come together, the legislator, many of you are familiar with the changes that we've implemented that will help the solutions to these construction delays. From my aspect, from the utility construction, the solution is to bypass the process and dig on safely. We all know that that's not going to work. The process is to pass legislation like we got done for improvements to these larger projects. May 22nd, 2026, we'll have better coordination on projects with project tickets. This will help contractors to schedule, coordinate through projects, from roadway projects to development projects, whether it be an industrial project, a commercial project, a residential project, many of which face up against the DOT's right of ways. We've increased accountability, not only for contractors causing delays to these jobs, but also to the utility operators as well. And I thank the DOT for their work in supporting the changes for damage prevention.
Thank you very much. Very important stuff. Be safe out there. Thank you. Next up, Reagan Freeman, coming, walk, bike. Never seen him before ever. At all. I know. You're an honorary member of the committee. I think.
That's why I'm traveling. I think it's good about 10 times. We should be carpool. Co-chairs, it's great to be with y'all. I have enjoyed it. Seeing all your input, our good friends at SCDOT and how they need to move our state forward. I really been struck, and I just want to call this out. It feels like everyone, business interests, people, and y'all, we're all looking to support SCDOT and move it forward. I think that is where we were going. There was questions about permitting, red tape, and where we go from there. But I think there's a piece of this I just want to call out, and I appreciate you hearing me and considering this to kind of move this forward. I submitted a package that has a cover with our logo on it. It should be in your material things you look there. I will speak on it in detail, but it really comes down to a few things. The first one, which is so important, and I said this to you all before, is South Carolina is the third most dangerous state in the nation for pedestrians. That number has not gone down. It continues to rise. Our good friends at SCDOT, they've been working on this. My predecessor in this role worked with them to adopt the public streets policy, which is great. We're considering accommodations. That's not a complete process. It does need to still be implemented, and there's real issues once you get down to kind of the district level about what people are doing to make sure our neighborhoods, our communities, our churches, our schools, places where people are safe. A great example of this, and I learned this as I was talking to people, as you guys have been traveling, and this very much concerns me. I want to call this out. Depending on your traffic district's engineering office, it really does vary what kind of facilities they're going to put in. But a neighborhood or a group reaches out, hey, we get a crosswalk here, do we get the funding to hit? And that needs to be standardized. I think that's just kind of gotten caught up, but that is something you all can help me. This is in my executive summary here. That's the kind of stuff that no matter where you live, whether it's Denmark, whether it's from Clinton, or Columbia, or wherever, y'all, that has got to be the same. You know, this is the kind of stuff that is just written and codified in policy along these folks to make sure that no matter where you are, you know what I mean? This stuff is safe for everyone. I won't touch on everything here, just very quickly. Something we noticed is there is no statewide or state fund for PED or pilot projects in South Carolina. There's not one. Just for context, Tennessee has one. It's about 11 million. North Carolina has one. It's about 2 million. Georgia has one. It's about $400,000. We do not have a state source for projects. There's a federal one called TAP, which is great. They do great work. Those projects take a while because it's, you know, federal. You're talking about permanent, right? I actually live in Micah Caskey's district. That's where I'm at. And if the sidewalk next to the law is taking about 8 years to get built, I encourage you to ask them. Really what it comes down to is I think there's an opportunity here. It doesn't have to be much money, but we have to get things going. They will only fund things that are shovel ready, and there's a gap here. How many small communities do you all represent, or maybe they need the money to plan, right? Or they need the money to do a feasibility study. There needs to be more resources. I think I said last time I was here, your constituents are, I would imagine, are asking people about this congestion and getting places safe, and that is so critical. And something else to remember, you know, we do have flexible federal dollars that come in. 20% of the fatalities on South Carolina roads are pedestrians, 20%. And we are not spending even 2% of the federal dollars that are coming in. So I'm asking you to consider that. I'm happy to talk more as this process goes in, and again, thank you. I really appreciate it.
Thank you so much for being here again. Next up is Tanisha Gibbons, and Executive Director of SWRTA. Great to see you. Thank you for being here.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair and members of the committee. I'm Tanisha Gibbons, Executive Director, and I'd like to thank the SCDOT and the partners for the opportunity to speak on behalf of Tennessee Water Region Transportation Authority, serving Sumter and the surrounding region. As we discuss modernization, one of the most important factors is making it a reality is adequate state mass transit fund support. Modernization requires not just innovation, but investment. Right now, transit agencies across the state are doing the best we can with limited resources. But with stronger SMTF funding, modernization in Sumter could mean real visible change for the people we serve every day. What would that look like for us? Expanding multi-fix routes in Sumter to run later in the evenings and on Saturdays, helping employees in retail, healthcare, manufacturing, who currently struggle to find viable after-hours transportation. Creating a commuter service from Sumter to Manning, traveling through the industrial park to connect residents with good-paying jobs in manufacturing and distribution. Providing new economic opportunities and reducing transportation barriers for field workers. Launching the second commuter route from Sumter to Bishopville, developing partnerships with local employers like Crown Country to give individuals a second chance to stable employment, especially those rebuilding their lives to re-enter the workforce. Strengthening paratransit and demand response options for seniors, veterans, and individuals with disabilities can travel independently to medical appointments, grocery stores, and community programs like Health and Human Services. Modernizing our system and technology with mobile fare payment, real-time bus tracking, and automated scheduling to make riding easier, faster, and more reliable. Replacing aging vehicles with new fuel-efficient, low-emission buses that are safer, cleaner, and more cost-effective to maintain. These are more than transit improvements, they're community investments. Modernization would open doors for people who want to work, learn, and live independently, especially in areas where opportunity depends on reliable transportation. With adequate SMTF funding, public transit can move forward, creating stronger connections between people and progress, one route, one rider, and one community at a time. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that very much. There is a group, two groups here to speak on public transportation funding. Roosevelt McGee, Daniel Taylor, Karen Drowse, Patrice Williams, and Laurie Watkins. I guess you guys are all speaking together.
Hello and welcome. Thank you for coming.
Madam Chair and Committee, thank you for the invitation to be here. I am Deborah Canty, President of the Sumter chapter of the National Federation of the Blind in South Carolina, and also on the board with the Recovering Sight Foundation of Sumter. And we are here to speak on modernization for transportation and making it accessible for the blind community. The things such as automobile transportation, bus stops that are in safe places, lighted areas, and for a blind person to be aware when the stops are coming up or maybe through technology. And I'll let you have a few of our members just to share for a moment as well. Thank you.
Daniel Taylor, TYLR, chairperson. Appreciate you letting me speak for a minute. So, this transportation means a lot to me. It's sort of like more easy for my independence and being able to do things on my own. Like even going to the bank, going to the hospital, going, just making my round like a regular person. I appreciate it dearly. It's a lot of things that it should be done. Like I'm only 5'5", so where I'm from, they got buses that go down. That's joint person or older person on it. Also, that 40-year-old thing that tell you where you at and where you stop. Other than that, I appreciate y'all for the job.
Thank you.
Yes, Roosevelt McKee. Member of the NRD, which is the National Television of the Blind. I recently put a introduced to RT from my president, Mr. Gordon Kennedy, Deborah Kennedy, I'm sorry. And by me being introduced to RT, it was a big because when I I lived opposite, and really I used to mostly sit at the house, walk around the house doing things by me to be comfortable. But when I made this organization, and Deborah gave me the opportunity to go to AdHoc things, and from then on, I started using RTA for doctor visits, grocery stores and stuff. It's things that RTA done for me that I know that I had a check. Okay, it just was phenomenal. But the way RTA got me thinking. At first, I was privileged now because of the fact that I had no one to keep me anyway. Said that when my family, when I went blind, my family backed up. No money. So with RTA, I got all the help I need for my family to get me. So with that, I feel as far as RTA, I feel that they should come on up with better services, with funding. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. My name is Patrice Williams. I appreciate the fact that you've given us the opportunity to come in front of you today to speak and tell you what the RTA service means to us. And what it means to me is just a way of independence. It's giving me an opportunity to be able to get out and have transportation. We are looking forward to the funding that will be given to the RTA system so that it can modernize Sumter into a more accessible community for the blind and for the disabled. And we are looking forward to that funding and the changes that will be made. Thank you.
To say, biggest thing is your eyesight, you lose a lot of your independence. And having rides with the RTA gives you back that independence where you don't have to ask a friend to give you a ride. And that, because it kind of belittles you when you have to do that. Because a lot of times they really don't want to do it, but they will, or they won't. The other thing is, if I heard the lady speaking a few minutes ago about extending the hours. There's a lot of things we can do in the evenings. You get, most of my drivers won't drive after about 7 or after dark. So the RTA, if they did extend the hours, that would also help. I'm sure that costs more funding for that. But there's also so many of us out there that are like right past the line where the RTA system stops at. And I'm actually one of those people. I live right across the line. So if, you know, even if it's more funding for that, but to be able to extend it out just a little bit, there's a whole lot of us out there that's not been able to get on the RTA bus and get that freedom to go as long as we need to without having to ask people for help. Thank you.
Thank you so much. We appreciate you sharing with us today. Thank you. We appreciate your perspective very much.
Again, we thank you so much for the opportunity. And as Karen did say, we, the National Federation of Blind South Carolina, you meet at 7:00 p.m. every second Tuesday. And if you could get transportation RTA, get our members to the meeting and get us to do things within the community, such as going to the movies or whatever we want to do after 6 or 7 p.m. Thank you so much. And thank you for your time.
Thank you. That's very helpful. Thank you so much. Next up is Together, Lucy Anderson and Deborah Canty. Oh. I'm sorry. Okay. All right. Then I'll back up and say Lauren Watkins. This is Lucy and Deborah, if you'll wait for Lauren Watkins to speak, that would be great.
And they're not together either. Lucy is.
Okay. We're flexible, we can handle it.
So good afternoon, my name is Laurie Watkins and I'm the Executive Director of the Lee County Council on Aging. I would like to speak to you today about the partnership between Santee Water Regional Transportation Authority and the Lee County Council on Aging. SWRTA transports over half of our congregate clients to the senior center located in Bishopville. At that center, we provide daily hot meals and social activities, health screenings and wellness programs, and independence for those without family nearby or reliable transportation. For many of these clients, that is their only means of mobility and their link to community care. Most importantly, it is vital to combating social isolation, which can have serious and wide-ranging effects on both physical and mental health. The widespread sentiment voiced by one passenger is, without the bus, I couldn't get here for lunch or see my friends. It's what keeps me going. So why does modernization matter to a council on aging? It keeps seniors independent longer. Reliable door-to-door and fixed route options mean older adults can reach meals, social programs, dialysis, and pharmacy without relying on family. It reduces missing care, on-time, tech-enabled trips, lower no-shows for medical appointments,
which improves health outcomes and reduces costly emergency visits. It combats isolation. More consistent rides to congregate meal sites and activities, increase participation and mental well-being. And it stretches limited COA budgets. Efficient routing, better scheduling tools, and streamlined funding let each dollar provide trips. In the end, the result is reliable, dignified mobility for older adults, less isolation, more independence, and stronger communities.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Lucy Anderson. Hans Anderson, good to see you.
I'm Lucy Anderson. I'm from the Lee County Council located and we have particular bus to go to the council located RTA acres there. And we are out in the country. And by RTA getting us there, we have a time to be with each other. And we like to go to the center on the RTA because it gives us a effect to get there. Some of us can't drive. Some of us a little slow, but then we do get there and we love our RTA bus. But if you give us a chance, then we'll be able to get there. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Deborah Canty. And Sarton, thank you. And Jean Sarton. Hello.
Good afternoon. Before you start, Madam Secretary Turner, I take exception to something that was said earlier in the meeting, and Leslie Clark said something about the industry not being sexy. I want you to know that the Asphalt Pavement Association is very sexy. I should tell you today that back in my 100 days, I'm at a medical too, and lane closure.
Yeah,
Good afternoon. My name is Jean Sark.
Sorry.
You talked to us.
Representative Roberts really stingy with our time.
My name is Gene Sark, and I'm the president of Satterfield Construction Company. And I'm here on behalf of Satterfield Construction Company and our sister company, Sarah Jackson Incorporated, and as a concerned citizen of South Carolina. It's a privilege to speak to you today about infrastructure needs within our state. Our companies have the opportunity to work together with SCDOT on a daily basis, contracting with the department, paving roads in many areas of the state. And we take responsibility of assisting SCDOT in meeting the needs of South Carolina citizens very seriously. Like any good business, we strive every day to improve. I believe SCDOT strives every day to improve the delivery and maintenance of the South Carolina road network to and for the citizens of the state. In today's world, we often hear about the challenges of traffic, funding, road conditions, and a long list of other issues. So I want to start off with an example of how the SCDOT and industry partnership gets it right. I took a sample before I came today from our company of 40 projects that we have done within the last 2 years. 38 of those were completed within the contract completion date. It's a 98% success rate for the taxpayers of South Carolina. And it's just one small example of the good things that are being done across our state to deliver infrastructure. We, of course, have many challenges in the construction process, as you can imagine. One area where we see an opportunity to improve project delivery is the utility conflicts. These conflicts can cause lengthy delays in both the design and the construction of new locations of widening projects and new locations. SCDOT has worked on improving coordination with utilities that conflict with the construction process. And while progress has been made, there are still opportunities to improve. Any work that we could do together as a contracting industry with SCDOT to improve the response time of utilities or improve their timeline and utility relocation could substantially improve the delivery time of road construction projects for the traveling public. While it will be difficult today to pinpoint one specific solution, I think a group of stakeholders working together can come up with real solutions that would really make an improvement in project schedules. Finally, we see great things can be achieved when our industry and SCDOT work together to streamline activities. You saw earlier in the video where there was a fire on the bridge in Aiken County. The department, the contractor came together to clear up the situation rather quickly on the Father's Day. I only hope in the future we don't get calls on Father's Day weekend. It's pretty strenuous. And in closing, it is important to reemphasize the inflationary impacts of the last few years where the current dollar buys 30% less road lane miles today than it did 3 years ago. And when you couple this impact with the rising population of the state, the capacity of South Carolina road network is under immense pressure and falling behind at a rapid pace. It's very concerning for the future of our state. Thank you very much for your time today.
Thank you, Mr. Sargent. Thank you for your business and staying as well. That is the end of the list. Is there anyone who would like to speak, not sign up? No. All right. Let's make sure anyone who wants to send in commentary about community modernization, SC House EPW at schouse.gov. GOV. SC House EPW, the Center for Education and Public Works, at schouse.gov. Please send in your written commentary and get it in our notebooks and their email to us. Our next meeting is set for Charleston, November 3rd, Monday at Trident Technical College at 5 p.m. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for being here and making your travel from your district. We appreciate that very much. We appreciate everyone who was watching online for coming to the meeting. Apologize for the speaker having to leave early, but the schedule is not always as long in places as we'd like to be. And thanks also to the staff and the folks at our technical college here today who have made us so welcome. I'm a little filled, but other than that, I think we made everything work out pretty well. Appreciate everyone's flexibility with the microphones and the podiums. Members, please make sure you stop and thank our staff too, because they have a lot of prep to get into the work we do today. Thank you so much, and we'll see you in Charleston.
I like